Perfect. We're recording. So happy Monday. Hello. Happy last Monday of September. We are ending September, running into October, and something that I always say, and if you've been on our team for a while, you're probably like, here's the typical Lynn's talk, is however you end this month is how you're going to start next month. I'm pretty sure I've said it in our team chat like 38 times in the last 12 hours. No big deal. It's fine. But, and since I'm recording, and I did not say this while I was recording, I have to sneeze so bad and it's not letting me sneeze. So if I'm sniffling, I don't have COVID. I just really have to freaking sneeze. But anyways, okay. So what I want to talk about is, before we get into the topic tonight, is if September has been your month, right? I want you to hold on to that and I want you to run with it into October. If September has not been your month, right? Some people it was our best, some people it was our worst. And I don't just mean volume wise. Sometimes you can have your highest volume wise and still have your roughest mental health month. Okay. So when I say best or worst or whatever, I'm not talking about volume per se. I'm literally just saying, for you, how was your month? So if this was your best month, I want you to hold on to that momentum or that feeling or whatever it is that you are experiencing. And I want you to run with that into October, because how you end a month is how you begin a month. Same thing as if this wasn't your best month, again, not just volume wise, but us as a human, because that's before numbers, right? Volume is after heartbeat before volume. So remember, I want you to just think of that. If you had a rough month this month, I want you to leave it behind. I want you to tell yourself, tomorrow is a new day and I'm running towards it, because I'm not allowing this to come to October with me, right? So I really, really want you to either continue with what you're doing if it was best month. If it was not your month this month, I want you to end it tonight. I want you to look in the mirror and end it tonight. And I want you to tell yourself, and not just tell yourself, because, you know, I'm big on words don't really have any meaning unless you put it behind it with those actions. So tomorrow morning, wake up and do the things that you didn't do this month, right? Do the things that were kind of put on the back burner, and whether it be time blocking or doing your schedule. And if you need help with scheduling, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze and I got very excited, but false alarm. Don't worry, I'll update y'all when I do sneeze. I will say I sneezed and I will let everybody know, because I know we're all very invested in this right now. But what I want to talk about also is, with this, if it wasn't your best month and you do need help with planning or scheduling or planning out like your week. I am not very good at planning out a month. I try my hardest. I try my, like, with everything in me to plan out a month, and always crashes and burns. So I've gotten better at just planning my weeks. So Christina Tammy did a Zoom, and it's in Limitless. I don't know what she labeled it, but am I frozen? Everybody else is frozen. Oh no. Did I freeze? Ugh. What is going on? Did I freeze? Okay, everyone else froze, and I was like, this probably is a me thing, not a you thing. So, hi. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Christina Tammy did a planning Zoom. Thank you. Did a planning Zoom. It's in Limitless. She planned out a week with you guys. She showed you guys how she does it, time blocking and all that stuff. So if you are struggling in that, please go and watch that. Yeah, it was wonderful. She did an amazing Zoom, and it was probably one of my favorite that wasn't like content training of like telling you how to do things, but more of like showing you how to get it done. Because you can create all the content in the world. You can have all the stories, you can have all the posts in your notes, you can have all the captions, all, right? You can have all the things. But if you aren't planning out when you're going to use them and you aren't executing and working it into your schedule than it's just sitting in your phone. And as lovely as that is, nobody is going to see it. Nobody's going to get that interaction if it's just in your phone. So plan it out. But tonight's topic that I want to talk about is I was going to talk about growing our network, interactions, but more than that, the 3-2-1, because that goes with the growing your network side, and then hashtags for posts, stories, and reels. So I was going to talk about those, and then I have some questions on that in the comments of it. Live YouTube, she uploaded it. Perfect. Christine Tammy put it on YouTube also, if anybody needs it from there. But if you were not able to get a question on any of those topics that I shared in the team page, go ahead and put it in the chat, because I know I open this up to anybody. So if you aren't necessarily in my downline, you might not be in my personal team page, which I still want to help answer your questions on any of those topics. So put them in the chat. And I will get to those as well, I promise. So I'm going to start with hashtags, and then I'm going to kind of work my way back. So hashtags, I get this question a lot. How do I use them? Where do I put them? How do I find them? A through Z, all the things, right? So for me, hashtags are something I use in every single thing that I do. And I shared a trial and error for reels in my team page. But I want to talk about reels, because they are, y'all, if you are not using reels, y'all, if you are not using reels, tomorrow morning, get your butt on a reel. Like, I love y'all, but if you're not using them, I have to tell you, my reach has increased because of it. And I played trial and error and allowed myself to epically fail at like 3 of them. Y'all, I looked like awful on them. Like, beyond, not like my proudest moments on these reels. So if you're going to tell me that you don't know what you're doing, hi. If you're going to tell me you don't know what to do, hi. If you're going to tell me that you're going to look like a damn fool, hi. Like, y'all, it was rough, but we made it through it, and I was able to do some trial and error for you guys. So I'm going to talk about reels real quick, and then we'll work our way from there. They're not terrible, because even my worst reels, I was reading Jessica's comment, she said hers were terrible. Even my worst reels, I still got interactions or views. Like, my views were up. I think my lowest view was almost 4,000, and that was when I used no hashtags. I didn't put it on my feed. I just put it in my stories or the explore page. Like, so I'm here to help with that, because I did trial and error last week, and I think I did pretty, not saying I know it all, because far from that, but as far as reach wise goes. So for reels, I want you to put hashtags, but I want you to hashtag them in your caption. What do I mean by that? So as you're typing out what you're going to say, do like the return button, how it spaces it all the way down, do like return, 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 or ... and put hashtags. Trust me, the reach is so much higher on the reels that I did that with. My reach for that was probably like 6,000 to 7,000 when I woke up today. I'm not really sure 100%. And my phone's gonna die, so we'll wait for that. But I want you to put your hashtags there. And the reason being is because when I was doing my reels this week, I played around. I played around with no hashtags. I played around with hashtags in the comments. I played around with just doing one hashtag. I played around with doing like 10 hashtags. Like, I played around with them, okay? So with that, I learned that if you're going to use them, which you should always use hashtags, and the second thing is if your account is not public, if your account is private, it doesn't matter what you're hashtagging, because ain't nobody seeing it because you're private. So make it public first. But then after that is you put them in your captions and you share about them in there, and you're finding things. I used in my hashtags for my reels, things I was doing in my reel. So if I was talking about the opportunity, I talked about the business side and I hashtag things for the business. If I was doing it for the products, I hashtag things for the products. Why? Because reels for those hashtags, when somebody clicks on that hashtag, so if they click on hashtag debt free, I don't know, community, tribe, whatever it may be, right? If we did a hashtag limitless tribe and all of us did a reel, when you clicked on the limitless tribe hashtag, you will see all of our reels pop up first. Then you're going to see posts. Then you're going to have the option to like view the Limitless Tribe stories. So if you are using hashtags on your reels, you're going to the better chance of one, going on the top of the explore page, but two, you're also being at the top of those hashtags. Because it's a new thing. When Instagram and Facebook, they roll out new things, they like reward. I don't know, that sounds weird, but they the people who use that, they favor that. That's such a better word. See, this is why I have y'all. Words are hard. They favor those who use the new features. So reels are huge. Putting them in your caption is huge. And then another thing that I learned with my reels is the ones that I pushed to my feed. And how I did that is if I was going to post a picture, I just used that picture as my cover photo for the reel. So that way, when it was on my main feed, it still blended perfectly fine with my preset and everything like that. I had a perfectly like presetted picture for my cover, and I was wearing a completely different shirt in my reel. It didn't matter because it aesthetically went on my feed. And I know it probably sounds, you're probably like, sounds so strange, but just so that way you can keep with your storefront. There we go, your storefront. Next that I want to talk about. So does anyone have questions about reels before I move on? Is everybody good on reels? We're good on that. It doesn't have to just be hashtags. If you have any questions on anything, I know I shared a really good training on them. If you haven't watched that and you're wondering how step by step, how to do transitions, how to add, there's nobody in the waiting room, love. How to add, yeah, I've been admitting people. I have been looking, sorry. No, you're good. So, if you, what was I saying? Reels. Oh, trainings. I shared a really good one. If you need transition, how to add music, how to add a cover photo, how to make the words, if you're going to do pointing, how to make the words show up and disappear and only view. It's all on that training. Really, really good. And it is under the story topic in Limitless. If you can't find it, I updated all the topics on there, and I'm going to tomorrow be working on the Hustlin' page to change up the units and the topics for everybody. And then Wednesday I will be doing a training with, I think Emma's going to do it with me, but I'm going to talk about my first 14 days, how I onboard someone, how I help them through that in the first 30 days, training wise, what we go through. So just to kind of give you guys what's going to happen on Wednesday. So if you have any questions, save them for Wednesday for that, because I'm going to go really deep. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys step by step what I do, all the trainings I tag in. I'm going to show you the topic sections I use and all that stuff. So sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic there, but just so you guys know what, why I'm not going too deep into those kind of things right now. So next thing I want to talk about is how I use hashtags in my posts. So for me, I have learned that you can do it two different ways, right? You can put it in the caption, you can do the spaces, you can do the dots and put it in your caption, or you can make it a comment. For your post, comments work. For reels, comments do not work. I put hashtags in the comments of my reels, and it had the same amount of views as a reel that I had 0 hashtags on. So it shadow bans them when they're in the comments, just so you guys know. And shadow bans means it acts like you didn't even hashtag it. So make sure that when you are doing hashtags, reels, it's in the caption. Posts, it can be in the caption or the comments. I personally put all of my hashtags in the comment section of my posts. Would you put hashtags in the comments of your Facebook posts? So I personally don't use hashtags on Facebook. Not because they don't work or anything like that, but I just don't use them because I don't use hashtags to search things on Facebook. But if you are going to use hashtags, do them on Facebook in your caption itself. Because when you do it in the comments, it doesn't always work. It's like hit and miss. I don't want to say shadow ban because I've heard people say it works a couple times, but they also said it was hit and miss. So if you are going to use hashtags on Facebook and you utilize that for your business, put it in the post. I personally just don't utilize them on Facebook yet, just because I am still reaching people, through groups and through I'm going to talk about it when growing our network. So just so I don't get too far ahead. So reels, hashtags go in the caption. Posts, hashtags can go in caption or the comments, and it works either way. Next thing I want to talk about for hashtags is our stories. If you are not hashtagging your story, and I don't know how many times I can say hashtags tonight, but we can turn it into a drinking game. It's fine. So it's fine. So what we can do for stories is I hashtag every single story that I post. You don't see them though on mine. Why? Because I changed the color to whatever color is of my story, like the background or wherever, and I shrink them down teeny, 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 tiny, and I throw them in a corner somewhere. Why do I do that? Because I don't want on my stories a big hashtag thing, because when you only have so many seconds to read a story, right? Would you rather them read what hashtags you're hashtagging, or would you rather them read what you are trying to say on your story or trying to show on your story? I would rather them ignore my hashtags, because what's it matter, right? If they found me because of those hashtags, great. But if not, I want them to pay attention to why they're on my story. So change the color of it to where it's the same color of whatever the background is. Make it very, very tiny. Just go like this to it and make it tiny, 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 tiny. And then put it in a corner somewhere or wherever it may be, right? I also do that. Type them as a text. Yeah, I have them as just like a normal, like if you were typing. So you do hashtag and then you type something, and then at the bottom will pop up like the different hashtags. You can click it and it creates that hashtag and it assigns it to that hashtag for like if you were to go and search for like say you were gonna do like, I don't know, blogger. Obviously don't use blogger because it's like 17,000 bajillion million things on it, right? But just using that as an example. If it was not one as popular as that, you have a chance to, when you click on hashtag blogger in the explore search feed, you can become like part of that story. So what did I do? Oh, I'm going to a retreat. Maria Dillard is putting on a retreat for 200Ks, and I'm going to the retreat. And I learned how important this was, and sparked this conversation that we're having right now because of this story. And I started and I hashtagged the location, the hotel, and I geotagged and used the location. I was on not only the hotel's story, but I was on the location story. So if you are not using hashtags and geotags, meaning your location on it, which was another thing I want to talk about for stories, you are limiting and you're only allowing yourself to be seen by those who follow you. Yeah, I hashtag every single story, but you would have no idea because I make them so tiny and throw them somewhere. See, you don't know, but it broadens and it makes my reach so much higher. So wait, do you think that when you hashtag, you should use the ones that have the least amount used? I personally use ones that are not as popular, or ones that because I have a larger reach on my algorithm has a larger reach. I know that like I get a ton of followers, because of my debt journey, like my debt-free journey. I have a lot of people on there that follow me from that. So I know that when I make posts, I show up on their follow page or on their hashtag page or on whatever it is, because people who follow that hashtag follow me already, if that makes sense. So you have a better chance of being seen if the hashtag is not as big. If it has like 7.7 million, well, sis, you might not really make it on that one. You know, like I probably want to make it on that one. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But if it's 700, chances are you're going to see this mug on there, like a higher chance than 7.7 million, right? So I want you to think of it as, would you rather have a cool hashtag or a chance that somebody's going to see you? And half the time, if they're in your stories, nobody even knows what you're hashtagging. So just do the like ones with like 100 to like 1,000 or a couple thousand on it. You know what I mean? Instead of the ones with millions. Hold on. Yes, that made sense. I hope I answered that correctly for you. How do you add location to stories? So when you're on your story, still trying to sneeze over here, it's fine. When you're on your stories, you're gonna go to your story take a picture, add a picture on there, and then in the top, there's like that sticky note, and you know how you can add like GIFs, GIFs, stickers, whatever you want to call it. There's a sticky note, you click it, and it says on there, location. Mine is the first one. I click it, type whatever location you're in. A lot of times I tag Odessa, Florida, and I'll like make it little and put it somewhere. I'll tag my community, Starkey. I'll tag nearby locations. Like we have a new Starkey market. If you're from this area, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, well, just pretend. And it's like a new popular like southern like wine bar, but they have like beer and they have like outdoor like country things, and there's cows out back, and it's fun, it's cute, and it's right outside of our neighborhood. Well, it's super popular right now because it's outside and like you don't have to wear a mask, and it's great. And so it's super, super popular, and I will geotag that, and I'll get locals that are looking at that view because it's a new place and it's a hot place. We also have a really good taco place down the road that I will, yeah, Dory, we need to go. But you'll probably see me on their stories. That's fine. And we also have like taco places. So on like Tuesdays, I know to geotag over that area because people are over there for tacos. So knowing what you're doing and how you're geotagging and putting things in different places works out great. Yeah, it is a game changer. I noticed that when I started adding them in those places and doing it a little bit different and throwing them up on things that I normally wouldn't have. And at first I didn't put them on my stories because I was like, you only have like 0.3 seconds to read a story. And I have a lot to say. I have gift to gab. Like I don't have time for them to waste it on hashtags. And then I realized I could hide them. I also hide my music squares. So I'll have music on my stories. Like I did a video of my capsies today, and I had music on the story app, like on Instagram app, but I made the square little and I dragged it off the screen and it was still in my story. So instead of looking at things like the music square or the hashtags or my location, right? I kind of hid those so that way that wasn't the focal point of what I was doing, but yet I was still showing up on all those things. So when they're looking at that hashtag or at that geotag location, geotag is the location, just so you know, for Instagram. If I say that and you're like, what's that? That means location for Instagram. And you can actually search people, and this is actually how I also grow my network. So we're going to go into that in a second too. So you can search and people pop up on that story, and that's how they follow you. That's how your reach goes up. That's how you kind of ignite your algorithm a little bit with new people. So when you add your location, what does that actually do? It's making you a part of that story. So if you're not geotagging your posts, if you're not geotagging your stories, you're limiting your reach. Yeah, but you can do it on, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but every single post I do, I tag myself in either Starkey Ranch or Odessa, Florida, or wherever I am. If we're somewhere and I'm at, like we went to Amelia Island and we were staying at, where did we stay? At the Omni. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't remember. We were staying at the Omni, and I tagged that, and people who were staying at the Omni followed me. And the only reason I knew they were also staying there is because I looked at their story and I was like, oh, look, we have the same pool on our stories. So people are gonna, yeah, you can tag yourself in neighboring communities. You can tag yourself. Taylor does a really good thing of tagging herself. We have a local like Tampa area, and it's called South Howard, Soho, and she tags herself there all the time. She tags herself in another really cute like college town place, which is called Hyde Park. She tags herself there. Yep. She tags herself in like yummy restaurants. She tags herself those kind of places because she lives in the surrounding area of that. So like I do that anywhere I'm at. I always geotag my stories and my posts. So if you're not geotagging, then yeah, you should be doing them on every single post, not just your vacation ones. Every single one. And half the time I don't leave my house, so I just use my city one, and I'll switch it up because sometimes my area is called Odessa, sometimes my area is called Trinity, sometimes it's Newport Richie, sometimes I don't really know. It depends what the news wants to call us. So I just geotag, whatever it is at the time. And I switch it up. I switch up locations. I switch up my community. I switch up to surrounding communities when we have new places around. And yeah, if you're at the park, you can geotag that. Anytime I go to the park with Rylan and I'm pushing him in the swings on my stories, I geotag that. So anywhere you go, even if you're in your house, if you feel like you're just continuing to use the same one, if you haven't left your house all day, guess what? Make the geotag tiny and put it in the corner. That way you still show up on that location story and your posts are on that location's feed. So when you're going, I want to talk about growing our network for a second. I'm going to kind of transition because it has a lot to do with the geotag. That's one part of what I also do. When I am following people, I geotag myself into Odessa, Florida all the dang time because that's where I live. I go to the Odessa, Florida location on Instagram. And if you don't know where that is, you go to your explore page. It's a little magnifying glass, and up at the top it says search. And you're going to move it to places. So it says top, accounts, tags, and places. Places, if you type in your city. And the first one, like I typed in Odessa, so Odessa, Florida pops up, right? Right here, I'm going to show you guys the story. Okay, well, that's like almost a naked girl, so maybe we won't look at that one. So I'm going to put my finger there because that one's not really appropriate. But up top, you see that circle? That's their story. That's the location story. You see that second one right there? That's your girl. That's me. That post, y'all, I made July 15th. And I am on their top because it had so many people from the area. So I have been getting people, so type it, if you want to look at what I'm looking at, type in Odessa, Florida, Odessa. Okay. If you see the top left corner, that's the story. So anybody that geotagged in their story, Odessa, Florida, is gonna be in that story. Then you see how it says top. Those are the top posts right now in our city or on that location. I'm the second one, and my post was from July, and I post every single day. So 2.5 months, and mine is still up there. You see why using your location is so huge? Then next to top, it says recent. So when I go to follow people, right? I go to my recent. Oh, I'm on there twice. Oh, look at me. Look at me. Fancy. It's fine. No big deal. Autographs later. Just kidding. But really, if you go to recent next to it, I gotta keep it lively, trying to sneeze over here still. So we have to have some humor. Yeah, it's because our y'all, Odessa is not that big. I'm not that important. It's probably just because I always use that every single day. It's like a mile long. It's fine. Live in the littlest part. It's fine. So if you go to recent, anyways, you go to recent, back to the training, y'all, the training. You go to recent, I would go through that and see pictures or people that I relate to, people that I've seen maybe in Target, people that I've seen, around my neighborhood, and I would follow them, right? So you guys are saying I'm on there all the time, but that's because every single post I make is geotagged here. So you see now when somebody goes to search for my location, who looks like they are always out and about popping around? Who doesn't leave their house? Hi. So even though I geotag it, they're all around my house. They're all that different stuff. So when people are coming or looking, my development, like the community I live in is still building. So people are always searching where I live because they're looking for nearby places or stuff like that. So a new mom moving from like New Jersey to Florida and they're typing in this location, they're going to see me. They're going to follow me. Do you get what I'm saying? You need to geotag your location. Don't go using mine because I'm going to tell y'all it's probably not going to work out because new moms are going to be like, so you live in Sunny Ranch? And you're going to be like, I live in California. She's going to be like, so awkward. So, you know what I mean? Make sure that you're geotagging where you live, because you're going to actually find people that are going to start to recognize you. You might go in Target one day and someone's going to be like, oh, I follow her on Instagram. She probably found you from your geotag location. So I do a lot. I geotag both my stories and my posts. Every single one. Yeah, I'm all over it. I know it's kind of obnoxious. Sorry, y'all. I didn't know that was going to happen. I haven't looked at that one in a little bit, but I do that. I do Starkey. I do all sorts of things. So if you live in like, I think I saw Stina was on here. Stina lives in LA, right? Calabasas. Did you move to Calabasas? Or are you still in Malibu? Oh, you're in Calabasas. Calabasas is out here. Calabasas. Okay. Don't mind me. So she's in Calabasas, Calabasas. She's somewhere. She's in Cali. So she hashtags and geotags that. Can you imagine when she's on the LA, Calabasas, Calabasas, Malibu, wherever the heck she's popping around to? She will be on that geotag. That's a huge location for tourism. That's a huge location in the summer. That's a huge location just in general, right? So think about if you're in Texas, if you're doing Fort Worth, if you're doing Dallas, if you're doing your little small town that you're in, if you're in Michigan, if you're in a little small town, think about it. You have a bigger chance of being on that top page and in that hashtag, like story, in that location story, if you're using them nonstop. I've used Odessa, Florida for almost a year now. That's probably why I'm in the top, because they're probably like, somebody get this like girl off of here. Let's just show her so she moves on, right? The more you use it, the more you're going to pop up there. So use them. And the same thing I want to say, when you are, so I use that section right there to help me grow. I go into the recent more than the top. I go more to the recent, and I look through people on there and I follow. Another thing I do is I take hashtags. Oh, how cute. Katie just popped up on my explore page for her reel. It's so cute. Anyways, you go to your explore and you go to search, right? If you go to tags, those are hashtags. So if you type in dog mom, right? The first one's going to be hashtag dog mom. It has 9.5 million posts. So again, that's like a really like big one. Try and do some smaller ones, but you can throw some of those in there because, hey, if you have 2 of those and then like, you can do 30 hashtags on a post, okay? 30 before you get shadow banned and deleted and they don't post. So 30. So I try and do 29 to 30 on every single post that I do. So if you make like 5 of them bigger ones, right? But then the rest of them, the 20, I don't know, 25 other ones, smaller, like more geared towards your 5s and more just smaller ones, right? You are giving yourself 5% that you are going to be seen on a larger spectrum, but then 20, like the rest of them, the 25, you're going to be giving yourself a broader chance, right? But you're still, if you're using them and you're consistently using those 5 or switching up the 5 bigger ones, how do you know that one day it's not just going to, the algorithm's not going to be like, wow, she's like, it's time, and pop you up there? Because it's happened to me, y'all. Let me just tell you, it's happened. When I do my home decor, it's literally hit and miss, but I always hashtag like farmhouse stuff, and it's always like millions. And I know when the algorithm pushed me into those hashtags because I'll have like thousands of likes, and like I think one of my posts got like 100 shares and like 200 saves, and I was like, oh, which hashtag did this, right? And it was because I used a larger one. So when you have the 30 that you can use, if you're doing like 5 or 6 larger ones, but then the majority of them smaller ones, you're kind of giving yourself a double chance, right? So for the hashtags, this is what I want to say. When you use your story up at the top, this is that hashtag story. So anybody that put this hashtag dog mom in their story is on there. It's on there. If you click it, this thing, from the last 4 hours, 3 hours, I'm seeing dogs with hats. I'm seeing random dogs, I don't know, lots of things, right? So if you're not using that, but you're only searching hashtags to grow, you're already canceling out half of the effort. Let the algorithm work for you. Do that so that way you're working while you're not working. That's how your business builds behind the scenes. That's how, when I put my phone down all day and I have 3 hours of screen time, right? 3 to 4 hours, mainly my max screen time is normally 3 hours a day. And people are always like, how? Like, how? Oh, I think it's coming. Oh my gosh. I love that we all just cheered for me. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Yeah. I feel another one coming, so bear with me. But thank you. Okay, anyways, who knew we could get so excited of a sneeze? But if you are not doing all these things, and they're so simple, right? There's things that you can do in like a second, right? But they're things that we didn't think about at first. So now that we're kind of brought to it and it's in front of us and we know that we do it, your business is going to be working behind the scenes. Your business is going to be working while your phone is like this down on a table somewhere and you're spending time with your kids or your husband or your family or your wife. Or like Rob and I spent 5 hours decorating our house today. And I wasn't on my phone once. But when I picked up my phone, I had 2 people ready to enroll. It works behind the scenes for you. That way you don't feel like I'm posting and it's not being seen. Okay, are you posting and then that's it? Or are you posting and getting it sent out to a broader spectrum? So I want you guys to think about these things and implement them for a couple weeks. Implement them for a couple months. Implement them forever. Okay, forever. So growth. I want to talk about growing our network a little bit because I feel like this is something that I get asked a lot. They're like, I feel like I'm always searching my fives. I'm always searching my fives and I'm not finding people that fit it. So yes, I use my fives, right? But when growing my network, I don't always stick to following people in my fives because they can relate to me off of my fives and I might not relate to them, if that makes sense. Like Christina Tammy, love her to death, but I didn't relate to anything on her page because she was makeup. I don't wear makeup. She was makeup and home decor, and I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I was like, what am I supposed to decorate? Like and I didn't relate. So like, if I wouldn't have accepted her friend request, or if I wouldn't have followed her, right? She wouldn't be here. Like we wouldn't have her. And that would be a really tragic time for our tribe. Like, just like all of you guys, I might not relate to how your page looked like when you first started, right? Because how many people here can look back on when they first started and be like, wow, my page looks a lot different. Everybody's head is nodding. Okay. So I need you to know that just because you might not relate to their page today doesn't mean you don't relate to them. And because you're strong in your fives of what you're sharing, they have an opportunity to relate to you. And that's really what matters right here. So I follow people, honestly, without really looking at their stuff, if I'm being honest, because half the time, like I just said, they could have I've had people enroll with me and they only used Instagram for an inspirational like page. And all they did was have like hundreds of like Pinterest squares of inspirational things, right? I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I have Pinterest for that. So I probably wouldn't have followed them back. Well, they messaged me and they enrolled, right? Now her page is nothing inspirational squares and it's bomb. So you have to think about it. When people come to you, you might not interact and really understand their feed, but that doesn't mean they can't relate to you because you're sharing your fives. So your job is to share what's important to you, your fives, those things. And when people come to you and message you, you know that they are relating to you or they have questions about what you do. And know that if you judged every single person that wanted to join, or if I judged every single person that wanted to join me off of their social media on the day that they joined me, how many people would be here? Because I can tell you, I probably wouldn't be here if M judged my social media. You know what I mean? I didn't know what a preset was. I learned what a preset was like not even a year ago. Like, think about it. I had no idea. So when you are growing your network, I want you to use things outside of your fives also. I feel like a lot of times people are so five, 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 fives, and I love that for content for myself. But when it comes to growth, I like to get out of that box a little bit. I like to, when I feel like I have been searching all the hashtags that do with my fives, searching all my surrounding locations, and I'm like, what more do I need to do? I hit the explore page. I hit different accounts that are not thrivers, right? But bloggers, influencers. If I love their page and I'm like, this is great, and they have hundreds of followers, you bet your butt I go and I look at their picture and I look at people that are following them. Why? They're active accounts. That's what social media is for. And if somebody wants to follow you back, great. That's just how I view it. That's what social media is for. If somebody gets upset because you go to an influencer's photo and look at the people that are following or liking their stuff, I don't necessarily look at people that follow them just because there's robots, that accounts and stuff that can follow, but I do look at the people that like their pictures, because if I'm following that blogger or that influencer, chances are the other girls, the other moms, the other women that are following her like similar things that I do, right? Because you only follow bloggers, influencers that tell you things that you want to know or influence you to buy things that you like, right? Because you like the similar things. So I use that a lot. That is my go-to when it comes to growing my network, when I'm not using the geotag location and my normal hashtags. The next thing I do is I get asked a lot if I immediately go into 3, 2, 1. If I immediately, once I follow them, I do 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm so glad, Bree. Have a good night, love. Don't worry, it's recorded. But for me, I don't do 3, 2, 1 the minute I follow them. That's why if you've noticed in the chat when I send IPAs and I say 3, 2, 1 new babes from the weekend, or like today I said do 3, 2, 1 to new babes from the weekend. Because I spent all weekend following people. So today I spent all day, well, not all day, like maybe 15 minutes, I don't know, doing 3, 2, 1 on new people that I followed from the weekend. And if I couldn't do 3, 2, 1, well, guess what? Then I just unfollowed them. And that's fine. You can unfollow people just as you follow them. And the biggest thing that I feel that I also want to talk about tonight is, and please, I'm going to go back to the questions on the team page, but if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. Is do not be afraid to hit the unfollow button. If you see people's stories and you're just like, unfollow. Okay. There are so many people that I'm like, listen, we're not meant to build a business together. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You know why? Does anyone know why? Because guess what? You're going to build a business with people that respect you and that you respect. You're going to build a business with your people. And if that person doesn't come to you and ask you questions and you're trying to fake interactions and you're looking at their story like, who raised you? How are you going to be genuine with them? How are you going to build a relationship? Do not be afraid to unfollow anybody that makes you uncomfortable on social media, especially in today's world. Do not be afraid to unfollow anybody that just makes you uncomfortable in general. Unfollow on social media, unfollow in real life. Y'all know that December will be 3 years and I still unfollow people left and right. Like from high school, I'm like, you don't have access to Lynn's anymore. I unfollow, I unfriend. People still laugh at me. I unfollow, I unfriend. I'm like, honey, I don't know what you're laughing at. Like, it's fine. Cool. But you just have to unfollow. If it's not your people, if they make you feel a certain way, guess what? They don't have access to you anymore. You get to decide who has access to you and what you have access to. So if you are on your story and somebody makes you uncomfortable and you don't even know them, how's it going to be when you know them? If you're on, and I'm going to say this, Christina, Tammy, and I talked about this. If you're following something or something that has to do with your fives, right? And it makes you uncomfortable, stop following it. Stop searching it. Just because it's a part of you, like I'm a boy mom, right? But if somebody added me to a mom group, nope, uncomfortable. I immediately exit. No, I can't. But that doesn't make me any less of a boy mom because I refuse to be in boy mom groups. I just hate mom groups. It's still part of my fives. Hello, I got a little boy. I think he's upstairs sleeping. He might not be. He might be in another room watching Lightning game with his dad. Who knows? But that doesn't make me any less of a mom, right? You get to decide where you go, what you see, and what you do. And if you're so worried about, well, if I unfollow them, what if they would have joined me? Babe, you do not get to subject yourself to being uncomfortable every single day for a what if they join me. Because think about it. If they join you and they make you uncomfortable, how's it going to be when they join you? Stop being afraid of the unfollow button, because I think that more than anything, that is the biggest struggle and the biggest mental block that people have in their business is they're afraid to unfollow people. I will unfollow somebody in real life. I will unfollow them on social media. I will block them. I don't care. And I'm not the block culture of I don't care about that. But if somebody makes me uncomfortable, you bet your butt, because guess what? I am the most important. My mental space is the most important person to my business and my growth. Your mental space is the most important person to your business and your growth. If I constantly follow things, sorry, I had a dot and it was all I was staring at. If I constantly followed things that made me uncomfortable, how would I be as a leader to you guys? I'd probably be uncomfortable, right? If I wasn't comfortable to talk to all of y'all on here because y'all are my people, right? Like we're all weird. We're all people. It's fine. Like it's my jam. But if there was somebody on here who was like, she just like talked about her sneeze for 37 minutes. Like, how would I lead that person? Like, no, y'all cheered me on when I sneezed. Let's be real. Like we were all invested in this sneeze. But can you imagine if somebody was like, this is uncomfortable, like she's sneezing on camera, why is everyone so excited for her? Like we're excited because we felt that sneeze needed to come, right? Like it's okay. But the thing of it is, that person, if I would have followed them, they would be here, they probably wouldn't succeed with me. Another thing you have to be okay with is people joining other people. And I know that sounds weird, right? Because you're like, no, I wanted them to join me. I want to build my business. But it is what's that saying? Something in disguise, a blessing in disguise, right? Where if you unfollow them and they go and join someone else, wish them the best of luck, because guess what? If you unfollow them because they made you unhappy or uncomfortable, they weren't going to make your business happy and comfortable. It's a blessing in disguise for your mental space, because you want to lead people who want to be here with you. You're going to find your people, and you're going to do that no matter who you follow or unfollow, right? So I don't want us to get in a mental block of, I used to feel like I could not unfollow a single person because if I unfollowed them or unfriended them, I was going to like, how was I going to build? What if they were my next 200K? What if they were my next 4K? What if they went via? Who cares? It's fine. It's okay. I promise you it'll be okay. And I love to make sure that I'm so glad. Yeah, no, just unfollow, girlfriend. Hit that button. Like, it'll be your bestie. Hit that button. Because it'll also, you'll notice like you're not interacting with those people. And then it also helps your algorithm, because the people that you unfollow and you hit that button to, it now allows the people that you probably weren't seeing because you were always seeing that person's story to now open up a slot for a new story to come in for you to interact with. So when you're growing your network, don't worry as you're hitting that follow button. Really, I only follow girls personally, just because I think women are badasses in this business. Not that men aren't amazing in this, but I relate and can lead a woman so much more comfortably than I could probably lead a man, because I couldn't really be like, well, babe, you know what I mean? Like and it's just like in my vocabulary, like I don't think about it. And I feel like if I had, and not that I couldn't and not that I wouldn't, because I would love to link arms with a guy and have him run to 200K. Like I would VIPs, 4K, whatever it be that he wanted to do. But I am more comfortable leading women. I feel like we can have conversations like this. I feel like we can come on here with no bra. Like, it's fine. And we don't really have to care. So for me, I only follow women. So the only thing I look at is profile picture and name. Because if it's some like Hello Kitty, Susan baby girl, I'm probably not going to follow them because I have nothing to do with Hello Kitty. And a lot of times people's names have a lot to do with them, right? So I tend to follow people that I'm like, okay, this, I could do this. Like, this is good. This is good. You know what I mean? And I know they say don't judge a book by its cover. And I don't mean to judge anybody. And I'm not judging them because I'm sure Hello Kitty baby girl is really, really nice person. But I am just going to skip over that one. So that's really the only things that I look at is cover photo and name. And as long as it is a name and not like a business, I tend to not follow businesses or stuff like that. But as long as it is a actual person and a name, I hit that follow button and I worry about unfollowing later. I worry about doing that as I'm doing 3-2-1s. If I can't do a 3-2-1 on them, I unfollow them. If I can't even do a 3-2, I unfollow them because not everyone uses their stories, right? So I don't necessarily judge a book by its cover when I do my 3-2-1s. And if I can't do my one story, I'm not gonna like bump it. But another question I had and why I wanted to touch on that, and then we'll call it a night, is the question was, what happens with network marketers when they're all other businesses, like in other companies, when their stories are just full of business posts, right? Or before and afters or whatever it may be. I just don't do that portion of it because I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to pretend I want their products. I mean, I use network marketing, other companies' products. So if I genuinely want their product, I'm going to message them about their product. Like, I love me some oils. I love me some, when I do wear makeup, I love Unique. I love Mascara Beauty. Like, I love those types of things, right? So do not get me wrong. I will message those people and order from them as I see things. But other health and wellness companies, like, I got that on lock. We're good. So I'm not going to pretend, and I'm just going to swipe through their stories, but I can still do 3-2. So I can like 3 posts or comment on 2 posts, right? Doesn't mean I always have to go through their story. I have a ton of other leaders that follow me, and I've never ever interacted with their story because it is all their company and it's a health and wellness company. And I'm just not really into it. Cause I mean, I'm good, right? We're good here, but they message me, and all I've ever done is interact with their posts. I've never sent them a message, but they'll message me and ask me things on my posts or ask me things on my story or interact with my story. And that's fine because they're still seeing me on their algorithm. So I hope that this helped a little bit and that this is what we needed tonight. If you have any other questions about interactions, hashtags, growing your network or anything like that, let me know. But I do it very basic, and I don't try to overthink how I'm following. I think that's the biggest thing is people tend to be like, am I following the right people? Am I following enough? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Take the stress out of that and just follow people. And before you know it, you're going to have people to start doing 3-2-1 with. You're going to have people to start interacting with, and you're going to have people to unfollow because there's always someone to unfollow. Let's be real. So, and I hope that tomorrow or tonight you do a little bit of a clean house, because I'm sure when I said that, a couple people probably popped into your brain, right? A couple accounts probably you were like, oh, thank you. So I want you to give yourself permission to unfollow them and get rid of that mental block, because it's going to be a relief to you when you can go to your stories and stuff without people like that on there. So I hope you guys have a great night. I love y'all so much. Let's end September and run into October, because October is personally my favorite month. Love Halloween. And we are going to have lots of fun little content stuff for Halloween. So if you're a Halloween junkie like me, I'm excited. So I hope you guys have a good night. Love y'all. Bye.